All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Dracula by Bram Stoker. I've got two versions here. Classic vampire novel, of course. Came out in 1897, I believe, so over 100 years old. Now let's talk about the covers first, because I love graphic design and cover illustration. I've got this little Bantam Classic, part of the Bantam Classics series. This book, the cover's all right. It looks like a pale, vampire-y looking emo goth dude on the cover. It's all right. It's okay. And then I got more of this sort of collector's edition with the gold foil pages, and then the shiny. See if I can get it to shine there. The shiny Dracula with the whatever's going on here. Same thing with the Nikki Six. It's the closest T-shirt I could come to Dracula was Nikki Six. Anyway, it's kind of cool. I like the shininess of it. It wraps around. It looks real dope. And then on the back, we've got all this stuff going on. And then on the inside, we've got a great photo, an old sort of photoshopped looking photo of the castle in Romania or wherever. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about the book, okay? I read this a long time ago, didn't really like it, but it's always kind of been in my collection of classic novels. So I thought I'd give it another shot. I liked it a lot more this time. One of the drawbacks, is this novel is told, Bram Stoker was, I think he was Irish, and he was writing about this period of time where I guess it's a Vlad the Impaler, and it's just kind of like a mishmash of real legends with sort of fantastical supernatural stuff, kind of a mishmash of historical fiction and fantasy. It's told through, and this is the drawback, it's told through the it's not like a narrative where it's like an omnipresent narrator narrating the book for you, or is it a told in the first person, although it actually kind of is told in the first person when I think about it, because the book is told through the journals and letters that people are writing back and forth, or just writing in their own journals, or letters they're sending back and forth to each other. And it starts with the journal of Jonathan Harker, who he's traveling to Transylvania through the Carpathian Mountains, and directly a line from the book, the wildest and least known place in Europe. And so we're already setting up for an adventure into an unknown alien landscape. And one of the things that I did enjoy about the writing style of Bram Stoker, and maybe it was the writing style of Jonathan Harker, the guy we were reading his journal, but Jonathan Harker in his journal really does a great job of capturing sort of the bleakness, the Gothic, sort of dark and grim landscape of the Carpathian Mountains as he's traveling through it. I really liked that. And then he describes, who's living here. It's like there's a lot of Saxons living here. The ancestors of the Saxons and the ancestors of the Wallachs, ancestors of the Magyars. I don't know how do you say it. Magyars, the Magyars. And then the Shekels, ancestors of the Shekels. All of these people are kind of living within these Carpathian Mountains. And the Carpathian Mountains just are full of every known superstition that's known by man. It's just like everything out there, from pagan witchcraft worship to, Egyptian, magic, to everything is just sort of kind of boiling to a surface in these mountains. And he does in this journal, as he's writing in the journal, he does a good job of describing what's going on. So in a way, it is kind of a first-person narrative, when we start reading these journals. But then when we get to them sending letters back and forth to each other, it's also sort of first person. But anyway, Jonathan Harker is our first character that we see this world through, and he's visiting. Why is he in the Carpathians? Oh, well, he's going there to visit Count Dracula. I mean, it's just stated right up front. In fact, he's going on May 4th, which is an evil day. Now, on May 4th, there's talk of a lot of snow sort of falling and things like that. There's snowstorms in May in Utah, so that makes sense. May 4th is an evil day. It is known as St. George's Day. In fact, the innkeeper where he's staying, she's a little nervous that he's going to visit Count Dracula, because I guess in this world, this area of the Carpathians where Dracula lives, people don't trust this guy Dracula, and so she gives Jonathan Harker a crucifix and says, you go up and visit this guy, and you need a crucifix to protect yourself. He's kind of like, oh, that's weird. It's kind of like as a warning, you're going on the most evil day of the year. You're going to visit the most evil guy that lives in the most evil mountain range that there is. Good luck to you. Then a carriage picks him up, and he heads off to the castle. And as he's going to the castle, things get even more creepy. I mean, they're passing villagers, and the villagers, I guess they know what direction he's headed, and he's headed up to the castle. And the villagers are just, so they're crossing themselves, and he's like, okay, this is getting weirder and weirder. And then the wolves, as they get deeper into the woods, the wolves start to howl, and the carriage driver's acting a little weird. And then the carriage driver seems to be able to get the wolves to stop howling just with a glance or a motion, or there's some supernatural things going on as he's traveling to this. This is all within the first 10 pages. Very, very neat setup. I was like, okay, this is gonna be something that I can get into. This is spooky. This is like, this is really gothic. This is like, and the language that Bram Stoker's using is very rich and luscious, and I'm like really enjoying it. And then we meet Dracula, and he's like this colorless, he's this guy. Dracula is basically this guy. And he invites him in and gives him a tour of the castle. And it's a towering castle set upon a cliff. Now, I have been to Italy and there's a few castles in Italy that were just set so high up on the cliffs that I was just amazed. I got them on my Instagram where I photographed them, and I was just picturing that, just these lofty castles up on these cliffs in the deep mountainous woods, and they're just so cool, and I was just picturing that. But after a while, Jonathan thinks maybe he's in prison, and maybe this Dracula guy ain't gonna let him out, and he's just writing in his journal. Supernatural things are going on. He starts to notice the Count can't be out in the daylight. He sleeps in a coffin. All this stuff is weird. There's a lot of nocturnal things like bats and rats and wolves and stuff that the guy seems to have control over. It's just, everything starts to go ass over teapot. In a grim, we get other perspectives, though. There's the perspective of Nina Murray. We get some of her journal entries. Nina and Jonathan kind of have a relationship. He's writing back and forth to her. There's Renfield, of course. Then we've got Van Helsing. Van Helsing never gets perspective of his own, but just know that Van Helsing is the scientist who is sort of Dracula's nemesis, sort of the one that, might come in to save the day. Dr. Seward, we get stuff from his diary. It's just full of dark, grim, very bloody, people eating babies, feasting on children. This is a very dark book for its time, 1897. Probably shocking to a lot of people that were reading it back then. The teeth, the vampire teeth, the empty coffins, the people, the sacrifice, the human sacrifice, the drinking of the blood. All of that's in here. But I was growing less and less interested as the book went on. I don't know why, but it opened with a smash bang. Yay, this is going to be awesome. And then it kind of dovetailed into just a lot of, how old books are. That's all I'm going to say. Old books. And I might be it might be sacrilege. This might be some of y'all's favorite novel. So anyway, Dracula, one of the most popular stories ever told, written in 1897. God, I got that right. Has been it's been recreated for the stage and movies 100 times. Yet essentially, it's a Victorian age saga, an awesome tale of thrillingly bloodthirsty vampire whose nocturnal atrocities reflect the dark underside of a supremely moralistic age. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting through this. Is like we've got this moralistic Victorian age that this book is happening in, but yet we've got this underbelly, this underworld, sort of this. What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman where they went into the dark places and had weird sexual orgies? I can't remember. Eyes Wide Shut. This is the 1897 version of Eyes Wide Shut. That's what it is. It's very overtly sexualized in the whole control of the vampire over the women, and the women like just lusting after the vampire because he controls them in such a bloodthirsty way. That's really what was. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually kind of cooler than maybe I'm giving it credit for. So above all, Dracula is quintessentially a story of suspense and horror, boasting one of the most terrifying characters in literature. I've read worse. Centuries-old Count Dracula, whose diabolical passions prey upon the innocent, the helpless, and the beautiful. I went into this with low expectations because I'd read it before and just kind of ho-hummed my way through it. The first little bit of it was just knocking my socks off. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be 10 out of 10. And then I just kind of slowly dwindled into a little bit of boredom. And then now that I'm kind of thinking about what happened, I'm like kind of like raising its stock a little bit more. That's a weird review to give though. Like it's the wishy-washiest review I've ever done. I'm going to give this a 7. I was going to give it a 6.5, but I think I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Because, I mean, there was some interesting things, and I just got to bump it up because it was written at a time where I don't think there was a lot of people that this would have shocked a lot of people at the time. I don't know. I should research what the reception of this was when it came out. If people were horrified. Was this one of the books that would get banned? I don't know. I mean, were the Christians and the religious zealots banning this book? Or were they happy for this book? Because, Christianity is a huge Christianity really is the protagonist in this story. So maybe this book wasn't banned because it's about overcoming the devil. I should have researched that before I shot this review. However, it's interesting to think about. Your opinions below, people, please.